Okay. You go.
It's the weekend. It's Mailbag. After a little break last week, a little enforced break last week, we nearly had one this week due to tech difficulties. But thankfully, we've made it because we've got a stellar lineup of Dave Downer. Oh my God!
Where have you been living?
Been a long week. Dave Downey, who is disguised as Les Roberts for anyone watching the YouTube video.
Manchester, Dave Downey.
Dave Downey got Daniel Price, who's masqueraded as Dan Bain, and Warren Doyle, who's himself. How are we, lads?
It's all right, Leslie. How are we?
I'm all right.
Oh, what a start. Right. Let's just hot topic. Strangest managerial appointment. What's the story behind this one? Anyone guess?
Vincent Kompany.
Easy.
Yeah.
Well, it could have also been the Chelsea manager, new Chelsea manager, couldn't it?
Yeah. Has he got the job? Yeah.
Yeah. From Leicester, yeah.
4 years as well. 4 years.
They will never learn, will they?
He's got 5 years.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, you don't do it by halves when they get people in, do they?
No.
Just do it by halves when they get rid of them.
Like you look at things like that, don't you? And you think, you know what? He's done well at Leicester there. He's got a bit of a good thing. Chelsea is an absolute basket case, even for experienced managers. And you think, why on earth would you take that? But then you look at it and you think, he's getting 5 years worth of money, regardless of.
Yeah. By the time they've been in him off at Christmas, he's minted.
Yeah, it just seems like when they got Potter as well. It's just like it seems like that to me. I mean, he went after Kieran McKenna as well. Like loads of them seem to have gone after Kieran McKenna. It's actually really refreshing. He went and signed a new contract yesterday.
Yeah. Brilliant news.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, they will probably go down because they won't have the finances to stay up. But to go back-to-back promotions, that's insane to get in the Premier League like that. So you can see why he's highly valued.
Yeah, I think as well with Ipswich as well. You look at some clubs who do a back-to-back promotion, and it feels like they want the Premier League by accident.
Has anyone done that? When's the last time? That's a good question, isn't it? When's the last time that's been done?
It's definitely been done.
I
think. Luton do it, did he?
I think Luton didn't. Luton went through 4 divisions in about 9 years, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
It would have been close, but you feel like with Ipswich, they were kind of ready for the Championship when they got promoted. I know you watched them, Dan. Did it feel like that when they went up from League One? Like champion, or was it a bit like?
He had that thing right at the beginning in League One where, that teething trouble thing, and the fans weren't sure because he was trying to completely change what years and years of mismanagement had done, and they struggled. And once they hit the ground running in League One, they were so clearly good enough to get out of that league. And then when they got to the Championship, I think the big thing was the overall worry about Ipswich fans was, you've got a lot of the teams that have come down from the Premier League. They're still very strong financially. They've still got very good squads. And I think Ipswich fans this season were like, well, if we get in the playoffs, great. If we can stabilise, get in the playoffs. They use the loan system really well. They've had Amari Hutchinson there and, the lad from Man United, the left back and things like that. But they seem to catch a lot of people unawares very quickly, get ahead of the pack quite quickly, get a nice distance away from the sort of, they were never really out of that contention.
Yeah.
And, I think they believe that even though they're potentially financially and physically not ready for the Premier League, like a lot of teams feel that way, I think him staying shows that there is a view of longevity there. There is a kind of, because he could have bailed. As Dave was saying, there's a lot of people sniffing around him, so he could have bailed. But I think it'll be interesting to see how. I think it's, a bit off topic, but I think it's a bit of a shame at the moment in football. We have this thing where the Championship promotes managers that have to win games to get promoted. You have to score goals. You have to be attacking. Look at all the teams that have come up in the last 4 years. Fulham scoring 100 goals, 90-odd points. Burnley battering people. Ipswich, 90-odd points. Leicester, 90-odd points. Goals, goals, goals. So we have this incredible league where the emphasis is on getting out by winning and by being positive. And then what we do is we pitch them into the Premier League, where
Yeah.
you get rewarded for being pragmatic and negative, because the cost of leaving that league is so huge that we have 50% of the Premier League surviving and clinging on. And you are rewarded for being the also-ran. You're rewarded for being the 40-point merchants. And all it does is make the gap massive. It makes teams like Burnley, Luton, blah, 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 come up and go down, come up and go down, come up and go down, because they're not going to change the way they do stuff just to survive. I mean, I admire teams that come up and don't immediately turn into us and just sit there and go, we'll grind it out, we'll grind it out, we'll grind it out, 1 point a game, 1 point a game, 1 point a game. It's tedious. It's why the Premier League is so boring. And unfortunately, the two leagues are so made in such a way they're never going to do that, because you're meant to be attacking. The only way to get out the Championship is to be attacking and positive, and then you come to the Premier League and you get absolutely slaughtered for doing that. And it's just so difficult. I think it's a balance. It's a real shame we can't find a balance, because then we might have a league that's more entertaining, that's more interesting.
Yeah, I think the issue there is potentially twofold, in the fact that you get the Premier League and suddenly they can't wait to rule goals out. So that's one problem.
Yeah.
But then also if you've got a team who are playing really good football, you've got probably 6, maybe 7 teams who are doing that same thing, but with much better players.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the good football you're playing isn't quite as good. You don't quite have the room to play that good football. And it's self-defeating, isn't it? It's like, you know, if you've got a good team that can play good football, you should be able to do that in the division above. Not go and win it, but, go and do something. I mean, when was the last time, going right off topic here, but when was the last time a team came up and, finished in the top 6, let's say? So we had a couple in the 90s. We had Ipswich do it. We had Norwich do it. Struggling now. But you've had a few teams historically. You can look at Everton bouncing from 17th to 4th as a similar sort of thing. It doesn't really happen, does it? There was Leicester winning the thing, obviously, but you very rarely see a team come up or come from a real sort of low point to finish in that sort of top part. It's like the gap between everyone's just too big now.
Yeah,
I just want to continue on what Dan said there about the sort of the way in which you need to play to come up. And then that's so severe to be so far away from what you need to do to stay up. I think it was a few years ago when Norwich came up. It was when Farker was in charge then. It was either one of their boards, it wasn't Delia Smith, but somebody else who said, football clubs are able to stay afloat if they stay within the sort of a 5-point barrier. A 5-place barrier. So if you're in the bottom 3, which you're most likely going to come down with, and you stay in the top 2 of the Championship, you're absolutely fine financially. So in that sort of sense, if they're that confident to come back up, I think West Brom did it for years, didn't they? We're going down, back up. As long as they're there, because they get the parachute payments as well, financially, they actually make money. I'm not so sure if it's like that these days, but with the parachute system and all that's changing things, isn't it? I haven't looked too deep into that.
Well, there was a thing on that, wasn't there? That because Leicester and Southampton have come back up, the Premier League have saved themselves about 115 million or something mad in parachute. And instead of distributing it to the Championship, the Premier League clubs have gone, nah, let's distribute it amongst ourselves. So that money that was destined for the Championship, and you can say it only goes to the top clubs, so it keeps them afloat, but it does go into that ecosystem whereby they will buy players from lower down. Lower down clubs will benefit from these parachute payments as well. The Premier League have just gone, nah, we'll keep that, and it's just horrible. It's just right across the board. That league is just made to make money and keep that money swimming around within it. Hence, grassroots football gets absolutely nothing from it. Do you know what I mean?
I'm absolutely gutted that it's Leeds and Southampton are back, though. Absolutely gutted. Leicester and Leeds.
Leicester and Southampton.
No, Southampton.
Leicester and Southampton, yeah.
There's There's been 5 clubs, by the way, who've done back-to-back promotions, and the last one was Southampton in 2011, 2012. There we go.
Like it. Look at that. You come to Mailbag for the
Stats bomb.
Warren,
12 years ago, you know.
what's your strangest managerial appointment?
Wow. God. I mean, do you remember when Terry Venables managed Australia off the back of managing England in Euro 96? We had all that success, didn't he? Relative success in 96 in the Euros. And I think, I don't even know the backstory why he didn't end up staying on, because there was a clamour for him to stay on, wasn't there, for the World Cup? And then he ended up being, he ended up going to manage the Australian national team, who at that point didn't have, or they were just coming to that point where they had some of the younger players like you know Brett Emerton and them type of household name players coming through. They weren't quite an established team at that point. And then going back even further than that, I remember I only know this because I've watched the Damned United, but do you know John Reevy when he went to, he could have, did he leave the England job for the United Arab Emirates? I mean, I know that's obviously for money, but yeah, what a weird appointment that was. There's been so many, hasn't there, down the years, so many. But I mean, in terms of us, I mean, God, Rafa, Sam Allardyce. I mean, they're all mad ones, aren't they? Which seems, you know, all in the last 10, 15 years for us.
Yeah.
I think if you look at, just Arsene Wenger's a weird one, isn't it?
Mm.
You know, he came from Grand Passat to sort of, you know, an established English heritage club. You know what I mean? Like, you know, who were winning stuff, and he sort of arrived from, you know, the Super League out there. That was quite a weird one. That is a weird one.
Arsenal went with the safe pair of Premier League hands there, didn't they? Before that, it was what's his name from Bolton?
Bruce Rioch.
Bruce Rioch.
Yeah.
So then, I mean,
who signed Bergkamp, didn't he? Bruce Rioch signed Bergkamp.
Yeah, he did.
I said it was Graham.
George Graham got done, didn't he, for transfer mishaps?
Yeah.
And Stu Houston took over, a caretaker, did all right, and then Bruce Rioch came in and guided Arsenal to the lowest ever finish. You can tell I've watched Premier League years a number of times, haven't you?
It's that time of year, isn't it? In the Premier League.
It's on repeat.
Guy.
Georgie Thompson does the voice. Don't know what happened to her.
Any advance, Dave, on strange managerial appointments?
I mean, we didn't go into it deeply, did we, because of the question, but I think companies going there is absolutely mad. I had to cover his presser the other day, and he was talking about, you know, all of their journals over there. I think it's actually so well run, the way German football is, and just seems like everybody should basically copy the way in which they do stuff over there. And they were asking him about Burnley, and like so many of the journalists asking questions like, this is a massive surprise. The only reason why they called it a surprise was because they went through 7 or 8 different names, because their board is all legendary buy-in players and people who've been on the board for years and various things like that. And then he come to a company after 7 or 8 that they all discuss. It's like they all go for a bevy one night, and everybody, like, literally, it's a serious conversation you have before anybody says, do you know what, we'll collectively say we're going to go for this guy. So they went across 7 or 8 names, the ones you'd probably expect, you know, the big names in the game and across Italy, and, you know, Pochettino's obviously on the go and all that sort of thing. Obviously been Tuchel as well. And then they've come to company purely based on the style of play that he had at Burnley. And this is really ironic after what we were talking about there, Dan, in the sort of style that you can't really fit into the Premier League. They've been attracted to him because of how he actually tried to stay in the Premier League, and more so, obviously, the reason why he came up to the Premier League with Burnley. It's all the way through this week when they actually appointed him and when he was linked to them, I was like, this is really bizarre. But when you think about how successful Bayern Munich are, let's face it, probably there's only Real Madrid that top them, really, isn't there, in world football. For them to go and do this is obviously a really big deal. For them to all, you know, throw everything towards Vincent Kompany, I was like, what's going on here? But when you actually dig a little bit deeper to the logic, it's not that far-fetched, aside from the fact that he was the Burnley manager and he got relegated. because he was talking about, like, you think about what he's done in his career as a player. I mean, he's been a world-class footballer. He's won the Premier League. I don't think he won the Champions League with anybody, did he? But, you know, when he was talking about, say, Leroy Sané, who's there, and he was asked about, you know, being reunited with a player that he was so successful with at City. And you think about somebody of his caliber going in, regardless of the fact that it's a managerial role as opposed to a player role. I couldn't see it be that difficult for him to get those lads on board with what he wants to do. So, yeah, dare to say it. I mean, he'd probably be one of the journals said, you're prepared to get sacked in December. You know, they just don't give a shit over there. They'll just ask whatever they want. And like, he was happy to answer the question. And he said, no, I want them to reflect what I did. He's talking about when he grew up in Belgium and all this stuff. It went really deep to chat with them and things like that. But, you know, I was just thinking about it, thinking, do you reckon that could ever actually work over here? And I don't think it could, i.e. putting Duncan Ferguson in charge of us. You know, somebody who's only just kicked on to try and be a football manager. You know, you look at Roy Keane, who was just absolutely dreadful wherever he went, when he went down to Sunderland. He was at Ipswich for a bit, wasn't he?
He was,
As well. Just an embarrassment he really ended up at. And, you know, Gary Neville, Valencia.
Frank Lampard, you name it.
I mean, you look at this and I'm like, you know, for Bayern to go that far and get him in, and then it's quite ironic now that Craig Bellamy is the Burnley manager, or caretaker manager for now anyway. So, yeah, there's a couple of names thrown in there. But yeah, when we had when Ferguson came in, or Unsworth as well, I mean, I thought they were pretty peculiar, even though they were caretaker runs.
I can't wait for the Bundesliga years 2035 when they say, and Vincent Kompany was sacked after one season after guiding Bayern Munich to their lowest Bundesliga finish ever. Yeah, it's not going to end well, that.
I'll tell you what, the bar isn't too high given what they did last season, is it? You know,
that's probably why they've looked at him. They've because he had to sort of rebuild that Burnley team that went down. The Burnley team he brought back up was full of sort of loans and kids and stuff like that. So Bayern Munich are probably looking at it going, well, we need a bit of a real rebuild here. And he's good with the young players. He's good at getting the odd loan in. He was all right at Anderlecht when he was manager there and stuff. And
I think him and Arnie Slot are just the hospital pass while both clubs wait for Alonso. That's what it is.
Listen, Slot's going to fall right on his feet like they always do. They always will. He'll be the second coming of whatever him.
Champions League, they'll win it.
Yeah, the Reds, they fall into a barrel of thumbs and come out sucking a pair of tits.
No, but I will, just one more thing on Kompany, Les, or to any manager. How difficult is it to manage Bayern Munich? Is a question I'd like to put to the panel and everyone listening. Is it difficult to manage Bayern Munich?
Very difficult.
Burnley.
Given what Alonso's doing at Leverkusen, maybe. But to win that league is probably even easier than Real Madrid going and winning La Liga. And that's the only thing I'd say about it being sort of not a safe pair of hands that you're getting in regards to any manager that comes in. But I don't think it's difficult to win the league with Bayern Munich. But I mean, the counter argument is that's what they have to do. That's
yeah. I mean, I think the other
part of the year with them.
You were saying earlier, Dave, they have this board made up of ex-legends.
Yeah.
Who are at every single game. I mean, it was bad enough with David Moyes having to look over his shoulder and see Ferguson boring into the back of his head. But when you're at Bayern Munich, you look over your shoulder and there's like 6 Bayern Munich World Cup winners there. You know what I mean? It's sort of, and you've got to win it. There's no, you're not going to be patted on the back for second, are you? So that must be the hardest bit, is the expectation. Because you've got the money and you've got the players. It's just the fact that you have to win it, and there's 6 sort of Bayern Munich German international legends bogging you out all the time. You know what I mean?
Just before we move on, this current iteration of Bayern Munich also has the added problem of Harry Kane bringing the monkey bollocks from Tottenham. So, cursed as long as he's there. Gary said, can we class Liz Truss as a strange managerial appointment? Yeah. other one I was thinking of for this as well was fucking Luke Akehurst. The less said about that, the better.
In a buying if company's sacked by December, mate. She'd still win the league there.
She can do a job. Gary also said, for Everton, the fella who had money left on his tunnel tag, he can't even bring himself to say his name. And Lampard at Chelsea Mark II. Yeah, very odd. Liam said...
I'm go back to the first one. What did you say? You can't say his name. Who was he on about?
Rafa.
The fella who had money left on his tunnel tag. Knows the area well. Liam said Rafa surely even worse than HK3. And Stephen said I can't look past Benitez for the weirdest managerial appointments. Liam has asked. We've got a few questions now on Everton players in random situations. So Liam's asked, which Everton player would you want to see on Countdown?
The answer to any question on this or Mailbag is always Jordan Pickford.
You could just stop at which Everton player, Jordan Pickford. Obviously.
Yeah, it's just always you could almost do like a spin the wheel type scenario. Which Everton player would, and have a load of different like scenarios on this wheel, and whatever it lands on, like it could what Everton player would come to your house and fix your boiler? It would always be Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think we'd be winning on Countdown though if it was Jordan Pickford. I don't
imagine how funny it'd be. That would be a hell of a show, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Consonant.
Yeah, well, that's how he wouldn't know what a consonant was. I'm not going to go too far on him because I have no idea what his IQ is like, but it's just, I don't know, it's the way he comes across to me because he goes absolutely ballistic at the simple of things. So, you know, you could imagine him trashing up and grabbing that big block behind him and throwing it on the floor if he lost one round or he lost the numbers round.
Do you know what? I'll tell you who my money would be on for that. Amadou Onana. He's one intelligent fella.
He is bright, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a bright lad.
Good job on Countdown.
Wish he was better at kicking a ball though, eh?
Hey! Can't take a penalty though, can he? Stop bastard.
I'll tell you what, Dom's very articulate, and I think he'd be good on it as well. I think he'd give it the credence it deserves, so I think he'd be good on it.
Do you know who'd be terrifying?
Beto.
James Tarkovsky.
Never thought we'd be talking about Beto and Countdown in the same sentence.
Yeah,
I don't like Beto so much, you know. Is it just because he's shite, I think, and we paid him? Well, we're paying $5 a week for him or something.
Yeah, he should. Yeah.
I don't know what it is, right? But I always look at Warren and think of him. Only because,
is the heart.
Mate, I know it's random, but the amount of times he's spoken about it, and you've kept a serious face saying like he's a decent backup to
I know. No, hang on. I've never said he was a decent backup. I've said he's backup in the sense. Oh, yeah, all right. He'll come good. He'll come good. There you go. That's my prediction for next season.
By coming good to me and score twice.
Warren, you can't say a single thing in front of Dave. He's telling everyone, I reckon we should sign Jack Harrison for 10 million.
I'm glad you said it again because that's exactly what you said.
I don't think I said that.
You did. There's evidence.
I'm not sure.
Vocal evidence.
We'll go back and look over that one. Gary, moving on then. Gary has said he's currently having his first attempt at painting his house. Which Everton players do you think will be the best and worst at painting and decorating?
The best would have to be Jordan Pickford.
No.
You really know this time.
But no, Foxy actually second guessed us here and said Pickford to both, to which Gary replied, totally get that, but I can also see Garner and Keane running a wallpapering business together, sharing a van, and overalls.
Which Garner? Because if it's the other Garner, you won't be able to paint any different colours of the rainbow, you know?
No. Be dropping the paint, wouldn't he?
No, well, that's the thing. Michael Keane sent him up with some rainbow paint and he never come back.
And a long way.
Nice. I can't let this go without this nice one from Pump. Oh my God, punt from Foxy. I've got to stop doing this on a Friday. Keane's definitely got the height. Probably very good at finishing off the tricky bits too.
Yeah, the cornering and the edging in and all that.
Yeah, cutting in. Yeah.
Got a tricky finish on him. Who we say? I do like the idea of Keane and Garner.
Yeah, Keane and Jimmy Garner, and then worst Jordan Pickford.
I don't know, the Beto and Keane with the height. Would need a new ladder, would you?
Yeah, but you need Jimmy Garner to get down, and I think Keane and Garner at wallpaper, at paint your room.
It's a hell of a shout, that.
Couple of Northern lads there as well, eh?
Yeah.
Get Big Tarks in to come and make the tea. What have we got next? Another one. So, Real Tours is asked, with the Euros around the corner, who would you cast in a remake of Escape to Victory? I want to see Tony Hibbert take on a Nazi 11. What I've done here, I've narrowed it down to 5, so we need a replacement for each. So, who's being Sylvester Stallone?
Marco Materazzi. Got the Italian thing there. I know he was a keeper in the film and that, but quite,
lovely hair.
Yeah, Marco Materazzi. There we go.
Yeah, bang on.
Pele, Hibbert, clearly.
Yeah, well, it's got to be Colin Harvey, the white Pele, surely.
That's a good shout. That's a very good. When you were allowed to say things like that back in the day.
You still are.
Michael Caine?
I don't know.
Graham Stewart?
That was very good.
I do it all the time when I'm at home to my wife and my son. I say to them, I'd like some bloody scrambled eggs.
Mate, that's such a good impression, That's class.
I'm trying to, I can do the sort of 60s Michael Caine. This car belongs to the Pakistani ambassador. Right, I can do that, but I'm trying to perfect the Batman period Michael Caine, which is a bit more breathy, where he goes, Master Wayne. And it's a bit more...
it's very fragile.
I'm trying to, fragile, and I'm trying to perfect that at the moment. But the Zulus, I'm very good at that one. I think the Michael Caine character, for me, you want someone tall, blonde, curly-haired.
Graham Stewart for the Cockney thing.
Yeah, that's a shout.
Yeah.
Just quickly, while we're on Michael Caine and his Alfred in Batman, if anyone's not seen if anyone's not seen this skit on YouTube of someone doing like a sort of audition for the Michael Caine part in Batman, look up Stuart Law's Christopher Nolan directing Michael Caine. It's very, very funny. He's just trying to say one word the whole time. It's dead funny, and then he plays it at the end. It's amazing. Anyway, we digress. We're going with Graham Stewart then.
Yeah.
Bobby Moore. It's got to be the new Bobby Moore, hasn't it?
Brand face, yeah. Has to be.
Yeah.
All nice.
He's got very similar hair as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Not a dual seat though, apparently.
No.
So, yeah. Our dealers. This is the 5th.
Billy Electro.
Get Carlos Tevez in for that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Riquelme.
Yeah, Riquelme, yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Riquelme.
Finally, we can have Riquelme. Finally.
Yeah.
Tell you what, they are taking on a Nazi 11, aren't they? In kind of unrelated news, I saw before that, anyway, I'll go with it now, I've said it. Borussia Dortmund, have you seen they've got a new
sponsor? Yeah, I've seen this, yeah.
The darlings of the German football scene are now hand in hand with an arms dealer. Yeah.
Called Rheinmetall.
Yeah. It's they've been sponsored by a weapons manufacturer for the new season. No, genuinely, honestly, as reported by The Athletic.
Yeah. The logo of the arms company will be displayed on Dortmund's licensed products ahead of the club's Champions League final against Real Madrid.
No, that can't be. That's got to be a piss. No.
It's true.
The German club say the agreement will see Rheinmetall, gain the use of the wide-reaching advertising space, marketing rights, and event and hospitality arrangements in the stadium and on the club grounds.
Hospitality with some weapons.
Yeah.
Shotgun suite.
That was like 1,000.
We've got the shitty gambling stuff. What was it? Stake we've got and all that. And that's getting rid of. You can't have that soon, can you? They're getting rid of all that sort of gambling stuff, which is great. But you're allowed to go and get some guns. if you're in the Bundesliga.
Game's gone. Telling you. TWS, have you ever missed the deadline?
Any times in uni, mate. That's just a shit answer, though.
Dave, you miss a deadline anytime you need to meet anyone?
Oh, don't start. You don't start with that. You don't start with that. What about this? You messaging me with this blank. There's a problem with my laptop.
Technical difficulties I had. This was like
laptop and he's sitting there on a brand new Apple Mac there, aren't you? Bet you.
I'm on my phone.
What phone? The iPhone 20.
I nearly missed the birth of my son.
Oh, I did as well. Come on, go.
Because it'd been going on quite a long time, and my wife was overdue. So they say you're coming in now, and it's going to happen today.
Yeah.
But it just went on and on and on and on and on and on, and they allowed us to have a little kip about 3 a.m. They're like, look, nothing's happening. We'll wake you up in a few hours, and we'll go again. We'll go again at Norwich, and I woke up and I said to the midwife, I said, like, how long do you think we got? Because I'm parked on double yellow lines. And she was like, we got plenty of time to move your car. So I was in the middle, we'd parked up, she gave birth in hospital in London. So I parked up outside when they called us in. And it had been there overnight. So I was expecting to come out to my car and see it clamped or not there at all. So I said to the midwife, look, I'm going to just nip outside, move my car, pop it around the corner, and I'll be back. She said, yeah, you got ages. Don't worry about it. Go and get a drink from the cafe. Nothing's happening now. I was like, wicked. So I went out the hospital, wormed my way out the hospital, rang my mum, rang my sister, went and picked my car up, no ticket, lovely. Drove my car up the road, found a parking space, parked up, walked back to the hospital, went in, thought, I might have a Lucozade and packet of Discos. So went into the WH Smiths, grabbed a packet of Discos, had a Lucozade. And as I'm walking back into the maternity ward, my midwife flies past me like Usain Bolt, like literally like one of them where she sort of whips past you. And I thought, God, she's in a rush somewhere. Oh, okay. Anyway, bit of my Lucozade, ring me mum again, blah, blah, blah. Get into the lift. I'm in the lift like this, get up, open my crisps, have a linger around, don't want to get involved in it. It's really still early in the morning. And I can hear, wah, like that. And I'm like, of course, someone's having murders in there. You know what I mean? I was like, I wouldn't want to be in there. That sounds grim. You know what I mean? And I opened the door to our room, and my wife's like, where the fuck have you been? And she was like that on the table with her legs in there. And the midwife's like this. She's like, where have you been? I'm like, I went and got some Discos and moved my car. You said I had loads of time. She's like, it's coming now. I was like, for fuck's sake. I was like, yeah. But then it went on another half hour. I had plenty of time. Could have had a fan.
Yeah, you had loads of time.
No need for that drama, is there?
No.
Yeah, mine was so when Joe was born, Jay took ages. When Joe was born, it was like it was approaching lunchtime. So I thought I'll go and meet Jay at school. I'll take him for a Mackey's because I'll spoil him a little bit because it's been all about like the new baby and all that. And I was just about to leave, and the midwife had like been having a look around and stuff like that, and grabbed me and go, "No, you better not. You better stay here.
You better stay."
He did the opposite of what yours did and said, "Oh, you got plenty of time, mate. Go ahead." And within half an hour, he'd been born. So I'd have been. I can't even imagine like what it would have been like if I'd missed Joe. Haven't been there for Jay's. Had I missed Joe's, can you imagine what it'd have been like the rest of it?
You'd still be struggling for that now, mate. That'd still be thrown at you all the time, that wouldn't it?
Yeah, no matter what, it will be. Yeah. Any deadlines, Dave or Warren?
Only like what Dave said, like university or like work or anything like that. But no, not like not like what you two have said.
No, you can't beat those.
Yeah.
Like, Chris, bit of a different tack. What's your signature dish?
Oh, so I cooked for the first time the other day. I sometimes go on, like, I don't know if any of you have seen the Tasty app. where it shows you like a 1 minute video of how to do certain dishes and stuff. And I made the other day for the first time sriracha tacos. And brilliant. And so easy to do as well. So I did that the other day. I quite fancy myself in the kitchen. I'm not a great cook or nothing, but I like doing it. I find it quite therapeutic. So I can do that. I do a good chili. I do a good spag bol like anyone. But I do one, this is on a Tasty app, it's 1 pot taco macaroni cheese. And I do that spot on, and it's very easy to do, but very tasty. So I always say, like, if I've got to do something, got to, like, someone's over or something, got to cook something, I'd do that'd be me come down with me dinner, that taco macaroni.
I like it. Oh God, we're doing that in a few weeks. We've done we've done like 2 come down with me's at mate's houses for ours in a few weeks. Might just let Louise do it all together.
Do the taco macaroni.
I'll have a look at that actually, yeah. I'll make a note of that. And Dan, sure you've got some fancy culinary delights for us here.
Yeah, you know, it says I do love cooking. Worked in kitchens and stuff, done all that sort of thing. So I really do enjoy that. Like Warren said, it's very, you get into a zone, you know, it's very nice. But because we've got the shop, which is here, in front of you, I've been doing these things on our Instagram recently where I make a dish every week and every single ingredient in the dish comes from my shop. So last week I did a pasta dish with a shape of pasta which is orecchietti, which means small ears. So the pasta looks like little ears. And I did that with a truffle and wild mushroom pesto, butter from the shop, parmesan from the shop, extra virgin olive oil from the shop. The only thing that wasn't from the shop that was in the dish was a squeeze of lemon. But yeah, so I do really enjoy, now that we've got the shop and everything, I don't get to cook as much as I want because I get home later and stuff like that. And on Saturdays we're open late. But yeah, I've got a few little up my sleeve. I did this week I did confit duck leg and pui lentil, which is another one I like doing. But yeah, I like a bit of therapeutic cooking. I like to get my pizza oven on, and I did a butterflied gochujang lamb leg in it the other day and stuff like that. It's a bit of a hobby. I love doing it.
Sounds amazing. All of it.
Very master chef.
Yeah. I was drooling when you were speaking about that, what you've just made.
I love that.
With eating pasta. I mean, that's different world, that, mate. Love a bit of that.
I didn't. Do you know what? I was really picky. Food was just fuel for me until in my 20s. My fridge and my freezer in Camden in my flat was potato waffles, potato croquettes, bacon and sausages, and packet gravy granules, right? And booze. And I met my wife, and she was really into her food, and she'd bring round stuff that I'd never eaten before in my life. And I was in my 20s, and you know, it's the first time I'd eaten Parma ham or, you know, certain types of cheese and things. And I was sort of really falling for her, and I was like, I need to kind of pull my finger out here, because if she comes around my flat and sees that all I eat is potato waffles and amaretti, you know what I mean? And so I took her to this incredible restaurant in Primrose Hill that was voted the most romantic restaurant in London, called Odette's. And I looked at the menu and I didn't know any of it. There was like a fricassee of cep mushroom with blah, 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 and a veal cutlet with, you know what I mean? I didn't know what any of this was. But I just thought, I'm going to look a proper plum if I don't eat it, because she thinks I'm really sophisticated and stuff, you know what I mean? She thinks, oh, this guy's taken me to this amazing place. And I ordered the fricassee of wild mushroom ceps and blah, blah, blah. And then I ate it and went, oh, actually, it was all right, you know what I mean? And we got to the end of the meal and I hadn't gagged or done anything weird. And she was like, oh, there's a deli across the road from you. I'll meet you Saturday and I'll bring you some stuff round. And she brought round like all these weird little Portuguese, you know, like the old custard tarts and all this stuff. And slowly over the years of being together, she sort of has introduced, like, I had my first oyster when we first went to New Zealand, where she's from. And I had my first sort of sushi with her when I was in my 30s by the time, you know what I mean? It was so late. I came so late to it. But I just thought, if I'm going to sort of keep her, I'm going to have to open my palate up a bit and stop being such a picky little child and eating potato waffles every day when I get home from work. You know what I mean? And because of that, it's just opened up a whole world. There's still stuff I won't do. There's still stuff I can't go near and stuff, and I'm still a bit weird about texturally. I've got textual problems, but I think if I hadn't met Nick's, I'd probably still be eating potato waffle sandwiches. You know what I mean? So,
there's a time and a place for them, though. Still.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you dribble whisked egg into the voids.
Oh, different.
Yeah.
So you put your potato waffle in a frying pan. You whisk an egg up and you dribble it into the voids of the potato waffle and fill the voids with egg.
That's yeah.
Then you put a layer of bacon on. So you've got to have 2 waffles. So you then do a layer of bacon on top of the eggy waffle, then some cheese, then another waffle, then flip it, and then you've got like this bacon sandwich made of waffles with egg in the voids.
Wow.
I'm doing that tomorrow morning. Dave, to save you following Dan's culinary I put this out to everyone last night and said, what's my signature dish? I got told it was an omelette. I do a good omelette, but then Joe rode back and said, actually, no, Pop, my dad, makes a better omelette than me. So yeah, probably an omelette or something with poached eggs, because I can poach the fuck out of an egg.
Yeah.
Go ahead, then.
Take me hats off to anyone who can poach an egg well, because I do.
Especially poach the fuck out of an egg.
Yeah, absolutely. Best eggs, then poached eggs.
Oh, Dave, now I've brought you down to like the next level down.
I can go lower, mate, because I haven't got a fucking clue how to turn it. Which is quite ironic because I'm a big fella, right? So it's normally a Chinese or it's normal like my favourite place, George Jerry's.
I was gonna say, Dave, your signature dish is a George Jerry's, isn't it?
Exactly, George Jerry's kebab. But anyway, I learned, this is no joke, this, right? And it's embarrassing, but I'm gonna go for it because that's what this show's all about, really, isn't it? Just letting loose.
Just go for it.
Just letting loose. I learned 2 days ago how to make myself porridge. We got some porridge, so we got some ochre oats, yeah. And I didn't
But just
know.
adding the hot water to it.
No, but the thing is, mate, right? It's obvious that it's hot water, hot and milk, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you get with porridge. The problem was I didn't know how to hook it, how to what it is you do, cook it, not cook it. How you? What am I talking about?
Make it. How to make it.
I've got a very specific fail-safe way of making porridge. What's yours?
I was going to put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
But Hayley said to me, look, I'm going to show you how to do it properly. So she gets the pan out. And you got the four dots on the cooker.
Yeah.
The hobs.
Hobs, yeah. You got 4 of them. We got like a nice cooker, do you know what I mean? And
Really wasted on you.
Do you know
The 4 dots.
I'll tell you what, I can't cook for shit, but I've got a nice cooker.
That's it. I've seen a normal, I don't know if it's I sound like a proper Tory with this cooker. But
it's all right. It's like you probably got my ice fridge next to you from the other week.
Back in my let's say the olden days, years ago, you had a cooker that have the bars on the square things, right? You put the pan on the top.
Yeah.
But now it's like a flat surface. You know what I mean?
Like an induction hob.
Yeah. But this is meant to be easier. So I'm pushing these buttons and fucking. I'm leaning. It starts going hot when I'm leaning my hand. I'm like, do I put it on that one? But then I put it on that one, and the other one started going red as well. So I'm like, well, she had to do it for me in the end, right? And I nearly started crying at the end of it, not because my hand was burnt, but also because I felt that embarrassed that I couldn't make a portion, a bowl of porridge.
Dave.
Portion of porridge. There's the title.
I'm absolutely useless. Microwave. I bring a microwave wherever I go. That's all I can do.
There's no shame in not being able to use an induction hob because they're frigging weird. They're just mental, swerve. But if you want to make porridge, ignore Hayley. Ignore the posh oven, right? Put your porridge in a bowl, put some milk on it so it's just floating, lash it in the microwave, 1.5 minutes, perfect, done. That's it.
I like it nice and thick as well. You know, I love milk, but I like it where it's You know, like where you don't even, it doesn't even look like it's had any fluids in it. I like it like a big screen.
Maybe a minute 45 then.
It's like a cube. I could just eat from a cube like it was, I don't know, an ice cream. Something like that.
Right. We'll move on. Another one from Chris. We'll get through these quite quickly now because we've been on a while. What annoys you about festival season? Festival lineups for me, they're all shite. I've reached that age.
Sorry, what was the question you broke out there?
Sorry, what annoys you most about festival season?
I just think it's like you've got to be a meth in like. I don't know, like, because I know you go to festivals. I know everybody, you lads probably go to festivals, and everyone listens to us go to festivals. What I'm talking about is it's the cleanliest side of things that I just can't cope with. Again, that's the wrong way I've said this. I'm not criticizing anybody who goes. They look amazing. I've always wanted to do Glastonbury, but the fact that like I probably need to piss somewhere I didn't want to, or have a number two where I didn't want to, or not be able to have a wash for several days. That is going to see the fantastic music that's on offer. So yeah, I know you can. What is it called? Go glamping, all that now, can't you? But even that looks like you don't go back clean. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's just a nice tent, is it? Is that what it is?
Yes.
We did it a few years ago when my son was a bit younger, just after COVID sort of lockdown stopped. There was this music festival run by a mate of mine in Warwickshire, and they had the Happy Mondays and some other people and stuff, Primal Scream and some other bits, and we all kind of got comp tickets, you know, and that was for the camping bit. And I rung the organizer. I'm like, I can't. I'm too old, man. I'm not sleeping in a tent. I won't be able to get up. You know, it's like, you know, I get cramps pretty much every single day. You know, from being in my really, really lovely, expensive bed. Right? If I'm 1 inch deep in water, right, it's just not going to be a vibe. So I upgraded to a yurt, right?
What?
Yes.
In the kind of VIP band bit, right? And my yurt had a wooden floor and a 4-poster bed and all that vibe, and a little fire pit and all that. And my wife was absolutely determined not to break the festival spirit with our child, and they stayed over on the hill over there in the tent, right? And they were like, my wife's like, we're camping. This is the way it's meant to be. Yada yada yada. And it rained for 3 days, right? And they kept coming over to me in the morning because my little bit where my yurt was, we had like this huge sort of rack of power showers and toilets and stuff like that. And there was even a tent with like, you know, those Hollywood mirrors in, and hair dryers and curlers and all this. And it was like, and one morning, my son comes over to my tent, right? And he's like, Dad, we woke up this morning and we were sleeping in water, right? Mum wants you to come over and see what's wrong with the tent and stuff.
What's wrong with it?
So I went over, and our tent had an inch of water in it like that. And then you had like the little mattress thing like this, and then the, you know, sleeping bags. And when my son woke up, he turned over to his left-hand side, and it was like water. He's like he was on a lilo. So I pitched it out. I pitched the tent out, got everything dry, and said, look, I'll put it in the car. We'll turn the heaters on in the car, get everything dry, and then come and stay in the yurt with me. You know? And my wife's like, no, this is not how you do festivals. We're going to stay in the tent. And they stayed, fair play to them. They stayed in it till the end of the weekend. My son was miserable because I kept sending him pictures of me in my 4-poster bed in my yurt. Okay? I did all of them as a kid, and I don't think you care as a kid.
No.
You know what I mean? You're so, I mean, I was, you know, I'm not judging anyone else, but I was so high that I didn't care. You know what I mean? But now,
most people don't.
It would have to be, you know, I can't do anything like that without yurt in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all yurt action for me now because I'm too old.
There can't be anybody who's been to a festival who doesn't drink. I'm pretty right in that, saying that.
There's other things available, I think.
I was saying that as like, you know, level par sort of thing. everything else must go like a bit mad. Do you know what I mean? And you see, I mean,
Yeah.
I watch Glastonbury every single year. There's loads of it that I just don't like at all. So I'm pretty mundane when it comes to I like music that I like is like the most bog standard person, actually really boring in what I like in terms of music. But yeah, it's the idea in like going and doing it for the day, but then I could get a taxi home. Love all that, me. But you can't. You've got to like sleep on grass and just not get changed and all that stuff. It's all a bit mad to me. So there's always an Everton flag there as well, isn't it? At Glastonbury.
Always.
Would you go to the Warren?
No, they don't appeal to me whatsoever. I've never been to one. I probably never will. A lot of
Yeah.
for the reasons for what you said, but also, I mean, Les and Dave, you've both met me, and Dan, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you face to face yet. But I try to be. I hope I'll come across the way. I try to be personable. I try to be friendly. I try to be talkative and that. But I just don't like people. I just don't like people. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we went to a food festival down here the other day, and it was just like, do you know what I mean? It's just people everywhere. It's busy. I don't, and it's just like, it's things like, oh, are you mate and all that, and then you've got someone always like, especially these like, like not so much music festivals, but like these, like there's chili and cheese, isn't there, and things like that, and all the families go, and there's always a stage where we had one the other day where kids are singing a musical and they think they sound good and they sound terrible, and it's just not for me. And then someone always sings "Shut Up and Dance with Me," which is just that every year, whichever festival I go to, with folk festival or whatever, it's always sung and like I broke the law and the law won. Just always the same old stuff all the time, and everyone's just fake happy, and I just don't like. I
You know
don't
what,
like
mate?
it.
You've been on your travels as well. I would have thought you've
Yeah.
gone like in the States and all that sort of thing,
No, I don't know. And everything's so expensive as well. Like you want to buy something to eat, and it costs you like 20 quid for something to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm not like, I'd like to think I'm not tight. Maybe I am, but I'm not like, I'm just like 6, 7 quid for a portion of chips. I'm not doing it. Do you know what I mean? It just puts me off the whole, takes the enjoyment out of it for me. So sorry to be a killjoy to all you festival goers out there, but no, I'm not, doesn't appeal to me whatsoever.
You went one bit to saying you don't like people. I mean, do you know what?
No, I do like people. I do like people, but I don't. Do you know what I mean?
You want to avoid going on a podcast that thousands of people listen to. That might not be the one for you.
The thing with the festival is there is a high concentration of people. A lot of whom are completely wasted. A lot of whom might be dickheads. They might probably do. A lot of people that won't get on. It can be a little bit like that.
Yeah, exactly that.
I think especially now is like Glastonbury was always it may have changed now, but I think for a few years over the last decade at least, Glastonbury was always like the sort of big one where, oh, you're going because you're going to Glastonbury, which is sound because it's not like any other festival. I've never been, but it looks like it's something else. But then all these other festivals kind of took on the same thing where people were like, you were just going to a festival to say, I've been to a festival. And it's not like, it sounded like a wanky A&R, man. It's not about the anymore. It's like, fans do the same stuff. And it's,
if you look at something like Coachella in the States, if you look at something like Coachella in the States, it was a serious indie music festival 20 years ago. It was Pixies, Breeders, Mudhoney, Nirvana, really serious. And now you look at Coachella every year on any social media feed, and it's basically 70% influencers.
Yeah.
Who are all staying in private. They're all being paid to stay in their private Winnebagos, their yurts, whatever. And then they come out every day dressed up. None of them are covered in effluent or anything. They all look amazing. And they're all standing there like this. And Coachella's just been ruined by the sort of influencer culture.
Do you enjoy it last year?
What's that?
You enjoy it when you're there, do you? Have a good time.
He's got his ring light. He's got his ring light on his big,
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no doubt. Like, frig off, Downey. Right, we'll move on to
Downey.
Steve.
Yes, Dave Downer.
Steve. We'll come on to your questions next week. We'll finish on this one from Stu, seeing as Dave set me up nicely there. As there are a couple on the panel this week who could be described as a doyen of fashion, what is your go-to summer ensemble? to make the most of the incredible British summer. What we wearing this summer, lads? I'm gonna nick off for 1 second. I'll be right back. I can still hear.
The best way to come on what you're wearing in the summer.
I am so hoping he comes back.
I know. I hope he does.
You know what?
If he doesn't.
So for those who are listening, so Les has walked out of his room where he's based doing this, and he's opened the door, and it looks a little bit like Stars in Their Eyes. So he's gone out the door, and he's gonna come back. We think looking like something else. Oh no, he's back, and he looks exactly the same. He's not like Stars in Their Eyes.
He was just in the background taking his clothes off, but now
he's got his new long shot hat on. Lovely.
If I don't wear anything else all summer, if I'm in my nip this summer, I will be wearing my duck camo long shot bucket hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a shitload of golf caps, so I just normally pick one of them that goes along with the t-shirt that I've got. I have a general concern with socks and footwear. So I've got, I'm looking in front of me now on the floor, I've got about 25 different pairs of trainers, which I use specifically for the summer. So I do try to, and I'm not somebody a lot of people would think of that I take care of fashion in myself, but, I like the brighter colours, a bit of yellow, a bit of light blue, all that sort of thing. Need a cap on, given the fact that I've got no hair left. Sun cream on and all that sort of thing. But then, shorts is a bit of a strange one for me because when I play golf, if you're wearing shorts, you play golf, you have to wear white socks in 99.9% of places you have to play. It's either that or, you have to wear ankle white socks, but it has to be white socks. Wearing white socks makes you look ridiculous. So apologies to anyone that does, but please don't wear them. So I normally throw on just a pair of socks.
I've got yellow.
These days. That'll get me in a decent golf course, that mate. I can go to St Andrews wearing them. But also, I've now started getting, obviously, all these different trainers I've got. There's ones that are, fit without having any socks on, do you know what I mean? Because the worst thing about that, having no socks, is obviously you get sweaty in the hot weather. So, the way many of these are made these days, there's loads of air that can go around them and all that. So, I'm sort of easing towards always wearing ankle socks these days.
Ankle socks and golf gear. Solid shout. Warren?
I'm just very simple, very normal. I think we've talked on this show before about fashion trends, and I've said before how just very non-adventurous I am. I'm just very much a polo, pair of shorts, white trainers, t-shirt, pair of shorts, white trainers. I just go for the simple summer look, but I do love just wearing nice pair of comfortable shorts, sports shorts normally, and just a nice. I do like the little buttoned up summer shirt, and then like you, Les, nice cap or a nice bucket hat or something. Yeah, I'm gonna refer to the man himself here who knows all when it comes to summer fashion. I'm going to defer to him on this question because I'm just very bland and boring. Dan, just sort it out, please. Tell me what I need to wear.
I was going to ask one. Don't you wear any? I presume you'll have a load of your baseball stuff as well.
Oh yeah. I wear all that. Yeah. I mean, do you know what? Funnily enough, with that, because it's quite alternative. If I wear one of my baseball jerseys, no one else has got it, so it's a bit different. So I'll do that as well, yeah. But anything like that. But other than that, I'm just very, I'm very JD Sports. Do you know what I mean? T-shirts, shorts, trainers.
You can't go wrong with a classic capsule collection like that.
Yeah.
Some Uniqlo basics, spot on.
Yeah.
Dan, go on then. Finish us off on a high. What are we wearing this summer?
So I also have a collection of long shot hats like yourself, Les. So I'll be bringing out my Serpico bucket, which is white. That'll come out. I'm going to sound like such a twat. So I have this smock, right? That's a sort of French sailor fisherman smock. Right, and I really like it. It's in blue cotton. It's got a little double pocket thing, slash neck. Really like it, but it's very much a winter vibe. So my wife is making me 3 of them in a sort of lighter summer fabric, and one of them's going to be tie-dyed, and the other one is like a sort of blush pink, and then the other one is like a sort of tangerine orange, right? So I'm rocking that. I've got one of my many hats, lots of beadage. I love a bead. On the bottom, I'll be wearing a sort of a loose kind of YMC crinkle. I've got these trousers made. I've got these trousers made by YMC that are like a crinkle fabric. They're like a sort of seersucker. So I'll have them on, probably rolled up a bit, and then it will be some form of either Merrill functional weird slip-on tactical shoe, or a croc in a various
tactical
various colour. Although I'm big into the Merrill Hydromock at the moment, which is a vacuum molded plastic sandal. And yeah, basically, I like to call my look a sort of spiritual space jazz hybrid. And it goes down really well in Sleepy Suffolk.
Dan, do you know what though? Like, if I attempted to wear what you've just described there, like, I would probably get abused, like, by people. Do you know what I mean? But like you, I can imagine
I get it. I get abused every day.
Yeah, but I can imagine you pulling it off.
I was walking back to my house the other day, and I had my mohair cardigan on, these silly glasses, some sort of thing, some stuff, pair of pink Crocs, and my paint splatter dungarees, right? So I'm bowling to my house, and there's a group of lads on a scaffold doing a roof, right? And they've been ogling me for a few days.
Yeah.
They're probably trying to work out what this is, right? You know, these are men in their 20s with the access to the internet, right? And they still don't understand the concept that we don't all have to wear tracksuit bottoms, right?
But that's the thing. Like, looking at you now, like, if I'd have turned up on this show on Zoom here now, wearing what you're wearing, like, Les and Dave would be saying, "Warren, you're all right, mate? What's going on?" But you wearing it's just it works.
So I was walking down the road with my son, and you hear the first heckle, right? Like that, right? And my son goes, "Dad, those men are looking at you," right? So I kind of look up, and one of them goes, "What the fuck is," you know, sort of classic, sort of incoherent Neanderthalisms, you know? And I turn around and go, "What?" And one of them goes, "Oh, bloody hell, she's like that."
Shit house.
And he goes, what's all that then? Like that. And I went, 2024, mate. And he went, what? And I went, 2024. And he went, what do you mean? And I went, have a word with yourself, man. I was like, you're a grown man on a scaffolding shouting at a 48-year-old man with his son because I'm wearing pink footwear. And he was like, his mate was like, "Oh, he's had you off there, mate. He's had you off there." Like this. And then the next morning, I'm on my way to drop my kid off at school, and they're in their van, you know, and they're all like that as I walk past. And I'm like, "Morning," and they're all like, "Oh, he's having you there, mate." Like this. And it's like, it's the maddest thing ever. Is that we live in this information age, right? Where I'm technically, you know, I don't think I look weird at all anymore. I used to look proper weird, but I don't look weird anymore. And I will not go. There's not a week goes by. I was in. There's a place called Long Melford, right? It's like Midsummer Murders. It's up the road from here. It gets voted Britain's prettiest village every year. And I was there the other day going to the butcher's, and I got out my little silly car that I drive, right? And I got out my silly car, and I'm walking down the high road, and all I've got on is a pair of dungs, tie-dye Crocs, silly hat, these things, and a tie-dye T-shirt, right? And a woman clocks me across the street and walks into the road looking at me. She literally goes like that, proper jaw dropper like that. And she starts veering into the road. And I'm like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. And she goes like that and snaps out of it but it's like,
Take it as a compliment.
You pulled.
But it's such an odd concept that in 2024, in a country that has TV and that people are still seeing a silly old bugger like me and going, what is that? Look at that. What is that? And it's something that I think, unfortunately, my son is very similar to me in the sense that he is very different in the way he dresses and the way he does his things. And we dragged him out of London a couple of years ago, moved him here. So he's still getting the same vibe. And he's like, Dad, people are calling me stuff and people are picking on him and all that. But, I said to him the other day, I said, unfortunately, we've made decisions to be the people we are.
Yeah.
Society will never be perfect. So we have to be strong enough to be true to what we want to do and who we want to look like and how we want to be. And if people stare and people shout and people point, then you just have to kind of go, oh man, this is mad. And he has developed a very thick skin living out here, and I'm used to it. But it still freaks me out that people think I look odd.
Well, hopefully he will get to a point though where if people don't look, it's like, what we're doing wrong here. You get to that point where you wear some stuff, you think, yeah, people are going to look at me. If they don't, well, bollocks, whatever. I think the lesson here is, before we wrap up, is this, Stu, this summer, wear whatever you want. It's the summer, man. Whatever you like.
Leather daddies.
Yeah, leather daddies, whatever you want. Preferably involved in a long shot hat, if you can. Even football shirt, if you want to wear football shirts, just not Liverpool ones.
Do you know what, just before you finish, it used to be the worst at school. You get seriously bullied if you weren't turning up like quite ironically, a Lacoste t-shirt or Nike t-shirt or something like that. Someone in school, or when you went out to the weekend at school and that, you're not wearing a branded top, people started taking the piss out of you. And I don't know whether it's still, you probably tell me that one these days, is it like, if it's like that with kids these days, mate, but it was horrendous, that, because people had always has also related to your family's income and things like that. And I went to a school in Bootle there, and I'm thinking, well, your mum and dad aren't going to be millionaires, you know what I mean, to be brutally honest. So why on earth would you rip somebody if they haven't got a form of clothing that fits into what you would say is a typical Scouser? It's annoying that. And what you said there, Dan's absolutely spot on. We should be in a society these days where anything counts. I mean, maybe we can go as far as those pictures in leather that you made of me and Les.
Yeah. I think that could.
You draw a line of me with arseless chaps that me and Les would be walking around with in town this summer. But is that a true thing though, Warren? Do you think the kids like that these days?
We don't deal with as much as that. So I don't know. I think a lot of kids now are just a little bit. They're not really as aware as probably what we are. They just get on with it and do what they want to do. But what I would say, just to follow on, Les, is wear what you want this summer, but get yourself a fridge that has an ice dispenser, and you cannot lose.
And a cooker.
Right. It's sound advice.
Yeah, a cooker that can cook porridge.
This is why people come to Mailbag, for the sound advice. Thanks for all the questions. As I said, if we can get to go this week, we'll get to them next week. Thanks to Dan, thanks to Dave, thanks to Warren. That's been Mailbag. We'll catch you next time.